Yeah, highlight. Don't forget the real though. Yeah, I bet you won't turn me up. What's that you bumping? It ain't vibing hard enough. Hey, no. Check my playlist, guaranteed you ain't hit top. From the indies to the mainstream, bringing other stuff. Music talks for Dwayne and Janean. Run it up. Run it. Pass that ox. Pass that ox. Hey, back on the scene, Dwayne and Janean. I'm bringing the facts, they know what I mean. Music comparisons, yeah, it's embarrassing. Up in the Ford, I feel like I'm Harrison. Back on the fast track, mighty and morphin' my name.
Ooh, that's too much sauce to give everybody for one episode. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of Pass the Ox. You know what time it is, man. It's your boy, your favorite prince, your Prince of Botch, your boy, your favorite neighborhood residential mediator / host, Dwayne. What's happening? And of course, I'm joined by my lovely, oh so beautiful co-host, as you know best, the queen of clatching, Miss Bougie Thug and Janean. Talk to the people. What's happening?
Hello, what's good? What's poppin', everybody? Another beautiful evening, morning, afternoon. I don't know what time you're listening to this, but it's always a grand time. I'm so ready to get into another episode.
Speaking of which, for our viewers out there watching the visual version, tell the people, what are you sipping on today, ma'am?
This is a 32-ounce glass that I may or may not have gotten from Taco Mac, but this is Blue Moon with a orange slice. You gotta have an orange slice with the Blue Moon every time.
Every time. And well, you know, silly old me, hey, you just gotta have a nice glass of hot cold agua, baby. It's gonna keep you nice and hydrated. Come on, baby. H2O. Gatorade.
H2O.
Gatorade. My mama said, okay, now that's for a whole nother depth. Y'all know how we do it on this show. Nonetheless, welcome. This is Pass the Ox. And as y'all already know, first off, we'd like to thank everybody that is listening to us live, wherever you are listening, whatever time, day, hour, moment, however. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to what we bring to you, which is great musical entertainment, because that's what we are here for. Nonetheless, if you are on one of our favorite platforms, if you're a Spotify-alien out there, hey, welcome. How you doing? You know, there's a nice little follow button up there that you can click real quick. Go ahead and click that. And, well, you know, that way it'll keep you notified, let you know when we drop new episodes, you know, and you can check out every episode that we got, you know what I'm saying? Last week, we actually had a really phenomenal dope guest, you know what I'm saying? I would like to take this time to shout out Mystical, the No Limit Soldier himself. We would like to thank you guys who took the time to give us the awesome feedback that you did, for checking out that episode. If you are a new listener, yes, that's right. Public service announcement. Mystical was on our very show last week. So make sure you stop what you're doing before you even listen to this episode. Unless you're listening live and then you have no choice. So go ahead and just listen live and then go back and check out the episode with Mystical. All right. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, well, you already know the dealio. So go ahead, click them 5 stars. You know what I mean? Leave us a nice little subscript review. You know what I'm saying? Shout us out. Let us know who you are, where you're from, all that good stuff, and we will shout you out on this very show. And of course, shout out to the people on Tuned In. Shout out to the people on Six Families Radio. Shout out to the people listening and watching on YouTube. Hey, how y'all doing? Y'all already know what time it is. Therefore, this is Pass the Ox. So, without further ado, Cuzzo, I think we got a guest in the house today, don't we?
Another one.
Well, I guess this is a man that kind of doesn't really need an introduction, but that's kind of what your boy is here for, and that's kind of what, you know, we as co-hosts are here for, is to give introductions to the people that show up on this very platform. So this man is a man who has been a very avid listener and supporter of the very show that we are bringing to you right now. So number one, we have to thank this brother for that, because he's always showing love, always giving comments, always letting us know the truth about every episode, what he thought, every interview, all that good stuff. And of course, this man does music and he produces as well. So artists, if you're listening and you need a producer, you might want to holler at this man by the end of the show at the part where we say, hey, where can everybody find you? So make sure you wait for that part, all right? In the meantime, here's a great show featuring the one, the only, Charlie G. However, he is a producer, so this is produced by Pac. Therefore, Charlie, talk to the people. What's going on, man?
Yeah, thank y'all for having me on. I'm excited. Yeah, this is a dope opportunity. Have fun with you guys. Yeah, let's get to it. Let's go. I'm ready.
Go. Let's do it. Let's do it, man. So, well, our people out there that listen kind of know how we like to start this show off. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's only one way to do it when you're on Past the Arts, baby. So, I'm gonna alley-oop this thing over to my co-host and let her set us up. Co-host, Nee.
You're all right. So our first segment is, of course, what's in your ears, and this is a segment where we go around the room, the table, the circle, and we share what have we been listening to this week, new, old, in between, so on and such forth. So for me, I am still heavy on Black is King. I'm listening to the Lion King soundtrack. It sounds good. My daughter loves it. I've caught her singing Brown Skin Girl, and it just makes my heart flutter. It's the most amazing thing. So I've been listening to that. I went to a game night last Sunday, and around 2 a.m. it turned into a Caribbean dance party. So we were listening to a lot of soca, a lot of calypso, a lot of reggae. And so I've kind of carried that over into my week. I couldn't tell you soca artists because I honestly don't know them, but I just go to my Apple Music, type in soca, and I find a playlist and let it ride. It's the best. And I've been listening to Burna Boy's new album that dropped today. So it's kind of all in the same feel.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, don't hate me, fellow Beyonce fans out there, but you know, I still haven't gotten around to checking out Black is King yet. I'm sorry. Okay, forgive me. One of these episodes, I guarantee you, I will be able to tell you, yes, you, that I have checked out Black is King. However, I do have a question for everyone out there. Is it possible? I did tweet this once. I do have this question. Did Black is King overshadow Hamilton?
Yeah. Because I still talk to people about Hamilton. They're like, I'm not watching a musical. I'm not watching a play. I'm not watching anything that has to do with colonial times. So I just think based off of we just relate to Black is King more, or we're more interested, or the sounds are familiar, or the story's familiar, or the fact that it's empowering us. I definitely think that it overshadowed Hamilton. Although Hamilton was good, but Black is King is better.
That was an interesting question because, you know, I had that thought when I realized, you know, that was actually a Disney thing on her part. And I was like, well, that's interesting. You know, that was the talk of the town not even a couple of weeks ago. And all of a sudden, this drops and everybody forgets all about it. Except,
of course, Beyonce drops and shuts down the internet, the world, time, space, everything.
And apparently people's careers. But we're not going to go there.
No, we're not.
No. Y'all ain't supposed to know that part because that's not actually a true thing.
He's just being messy, guys. He's being messy.
Hey, no, never that. It's just all good fun, people. It's all good fun. But man, what has been in my ears this week? Wow, guys. Truthfully, first and foremost, freshly off of today, I took it to my native roots of Memphis, Tennessee, and saw that Young Dolph dropped an album, and I had a chance to check out a little of it. I didn't check out in full, but I did check out most of it, and I'm here to say that very, very basic, catchy kind of album, you know what I'm saying? Typical Memphis sounds, you know what I mean? But it was very hilarious because I love how he had skits in it, you know what I mean? Like literal conversation with like actual fellow Memphian, you know, somebody that he's known, and you know that was kind of cool just to like look at the dialogue. It kind of made me feel like I was at home for a minute, you know what I mean? I was just like, oh, okay, cool. And he had a kind of funny, catchy song that Dills, and I could tell he probably wrote this in the midst of what's been going on with Black Lives Matter and everything. But he has a song called "The Land," and well, basically, it's a play off of home of the brave, land of the free. And he said it sounded like a bunch of bullshit to me. So therefore,
Yeah.
I thought that was a very, very interesting yet funny song in its own like street Memphian like kind of way. So shout out to Young Dolph, man. Hey, keep it going for the city, man. Keep on carrying the mantle. But yeah, man, I found myself. Oh, my boy Lecrae actually dropped 4 songs from his new album that will be dropping actually in a few weeks within this month. I believe August 21st is the official release date of this album. 4 songs did release from it, which was Zombie. It was a song. Well, I forgot. It's got. I know it has. Y'all forgive me. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I know it has John Legend on it, which was pretty dope. He did Shackles, Set Me Free, which had a Mary Mary sample in it, from the Shackles song, which was kind of dope how they did that. And yeah, it was. And then a song that probably was one of my personal favorites of the 4, Deep End, which was really kind of cool. Just literally talking about how sometimes whether you're spiritual or not, sometimes when you're trying to keep the peace and everything that's been going on in the world, you could tell this was kind of like a reflection song. Like he had a line where he was talking about, I know a lot of people that hate the cops, and I'm over here trying to keep the peace, but this and that. And basically, yeah, Deep End is just a way of just being transparent, as Lecrae always is, and letting you guys know that even with my faith, man, it's hard to stay on this side and not go off the deep end. I'm trying my best to stay, on the right path with everything. But shout out to Lecrae. I can't wait for the full album to drop. So I definitely, in celebration of waiting for this album, because there is rumor, and I believe, I still haven't heard him directly confirm this, but it seems like it's all but official that this is Lecrae's actual retirement album. So it looks like this is going to be his final album. May not necessarily be completely done with music, but this could possibly be his final album. And if so, what a heck of a legacy it's been for Christian hip hop, because a lot of people look at him as the GOAT of this thing, which I would not disagree with it, because when you've done songs with Paul Wall and B.O.B. and Ty Dolla $ign, John Legend, I mean, the list goes on. Tori Kelly, for crying out loud. I mean, this man Lecrae has always found a way.
Resume going stupid.
Resume going stupid. For Christian, our Christian rapper
Yeah.
doing these type of features with big time people. And actually on this album, he has a song with Kirk Franklin, which I can't wait to hear from that, because I'm very interested to see how that turns out. So nonetheless, I mean, this man has done a lot of things. So if this is his final actual full-length album, I'm definitely going to make sure I'm enjoying it from start to finish. So y'all will feel, a review coming from me on that aspect when this album drops on the 21st. But yeah, so outside of Lecrae, I found myself going, shout out to Apple Music. They like to spotlight a lot of classic albums. So I found myself on a Tribe Called Quest album, one of their classics. I cannot forget, shout out to my girl, Brandy. Been vibing to Brandy's new album. I have to make this known, people. Brandy is a slept on artist, okay?
Yes.
This woman's melodies, greatest of all time, okay? This woman got melodies out of this world that just, I'm sitting there, I was riding, I'm on the interstate, man. I'm literally on 85, just cruising, y'all. Got this girl's vibe. Not one track was skipped. That thing so smoothly went track to track to track. And I'm like, man, whoo, boy, Brandy. Whoo, oh my goodness. I'm talking about instrumentation on point, melodies on a whole another level of another vibe. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not listened to this B7 album by Brandy, stop what you're doing. Well, after you listen to this show, stop what you're doing. Go on your neighborhood residential streaming site, Tidal, if you will, from my man Derek, because we know how he loves his Tidal. Therefore, whatever you're listening to your music on, check out that B7 by Brandy. Brandy, we hope to have you on the show soon one day, love, because I have to tell you, this album is definitely a masterpiece from top to bottom. And that being said, that's kind of what's been in my ears, with the exception of just a couple of things I found. Also, like I said, I've been a little bit of everywhere. Found myself going through Chameleonaire's mixtape Messiahs, listening to some of the stuff I used to listen to when I was on Chameleonaire heavy, and still am, because the man's underrated in my opinion. I wish he was still doing music, but unfortunately he's doing other money moves right now, so he doesn't really need music anymore. But I found myself in his classics, and I found myself listening to a lot of Big Crit, because that's one of my favorite rappers, you know what I'm saying? And I love Big Crit, you know. Hasn't dropped anything new. Usually he would drop something new right about now, but I'm pretty sure he's still cooking up some stuff, letting that last album he put out, you know, kind of just ride. But found myself going back listening to his stuff. So yeah, that's been pretty much what's been in my ears this week. So I'm gonna pass this thing off to our musical guest here. And so, what you been listening to, man? What's been in your vibes lately, man?
As of today, that new Drake and Baby record, Laugh Now, Laugh,
Little
Laugh
Dirt.
Later. Yeah, Lil Dirt. My bad, not Lil Baby,
Yes.
but
Yes.
yeah, I was listening to that. I think that was like one of probably my favorite like Drake singles that I've heard in a while. Like it just sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been listening to that today. Also checked out the Burna Boy album, some of it. I'm only liking the beginning of it. I was enjoying that. But what I really been listening to, and for some reason I just can't, like, I listen to something else, but I always find myself going back to the Mine album. That album is really good.
I haven't
If you
listened
haven't checked that
to
out,
it yet. Yeah.
yeah, like
Wow.
he has a record with Charlie Wilson and JID. That
Ooh,
record is
Ooh.
that's a heck of a
amazing.
collab right there.
Right. Like I would
Mhm.
never think like those like group of artists would like combine on one track. So
Yes.
he also have a couple records on that album. One record he got one like dedicated to his mom's. Like that joint is pretty dope. Then he got another one called Riri. That joint is fire too. So if y'all haven't like listened to that Mine album, definitely check that out. Other than that, you know, I go back and forth listening to Nip.
Mm.
Um, like I try to start my morning off with high energy. So I call it like activation music. So like I feel like Nip is like one of those people that I feel like takes me, you know, start your day off right, like get you high energy and let's go ahead and tackle whatever we got going on today. So yeah, that's pretty much majority of things I've been listening to. If you haven't heard of another artist called Katori Walker, that's somebody I'll go back and forth listening to as well. So he's pretty dope. He reminds me of like a uh, overly dedicated like Kendrick in a way.
Mm.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah, so he's pretty dope.
Love it, man. Love it. Love
I
it.
have
So
two things I need to go listen to.
yeah,
Yeah.
indeed, indeed. It is always great when you have new artists that you can go and check out. Now, speaking of what you definitely transitioned into with what you started off listening to on today's tip, let's go ahead and transition to those entertainment facts. And I switch it and alley oop it again to my co-host and say, hey, what happened that was interesting musically in the entertainment world this week?
So something that's been brought to my attention is Nas announced that he's going to be dropping an album called King's Disease, and he dropped a single called Ultra Black. And in the single Ultra Black, he has a bar where he's taking a shot at Doja Cat. He says, "We going ultra black, unapologetically black, the opposite of Doja Cat."
Mm.
And so, like true Twitter fandom, everybody's coming at Nas now, and there's a generation or a group of Doja Cat fans that are not putting respect on Nas's name, essentially, like questioning who is he to even speak on her. You see these posts where they're comparing streams, like how Doja Cat has a higher number of streams versus Nas, and that somehow makes her a better artist. So it just kind of brings up the conversation of, you know, how is it that we've gotten to a point of where maybe not celebrity, but your I guess your stain or respect comes from the numbers versus content or talent or creativity. Not to say that Doja Cat isn't creative, because I don't really listen to her, so I don't know. But you're not gonna come for Nas in this way. You can't.
You know, it's interesting you touch on that, my lovely co-host, as you did so well, because the funny thing about that is that, yeah, it's two sides of the field here, right? There's with the goats, the legends, you know, the forefathers, if you will. There's the get off my lawn aspect of, you know, hey, wait a minute, you know, you gotta put some people in place here, right? But then it's like, well, you got your new gen kids, your new school kids. It's like, oh, wait a minute, bro, hold on. All right, you was popping once upon a time. Matter of fact, no, who is you? Ain't you like my granddad's favorite artist or something? You know,
Right.
whatever. You know, you got this tip for tat thing. But then it's kind of one of those things where you're like, well, Will Smith did say it himself in the Will remix. You know what I'm saying? When he was just talking about, hey, listen, most of y'all forgot back before there was streams. You know, back when you had to buy CDs and that. So you can't really compare Nas's streams because of the fact that when Nas was popping, he didn't have streams. And if you had streams, you would see a major difference. Trust
Hmm.
you me. Okay? Just imagine if we had streams in the times of the Tupac Shakurs and the Notorious B.I.G.s and the Nas's and even the early Jay-Z's, if you will. You know what I'm saying? Just imagine that. You know, if you had any of that, none of these artists today could probably compare to any of those artists at that time. However, there are a selected few that can hold their own in their own right.
Right.
Doja Cat could possibly be that. You know, I don't really listen to a lot of her stuff either. I've only recall hearing one song of hers, and that was just because I kind of felt the groove behind it. Say so. But nonetheless, yeah, I mean, what do you say? What can you say to that? It's like, you know, I mean, to the OGs, you do kind of want to somewhat not say too much, I guess, but then you have a right to kind of just give it the real, you know what I'm saying? Giving it from an aspect of where you came from and how you came up. But yeah, man, new school kids gotta stop being so sensitive, man. Just take the licks, man. Take the licks and go with it. You know what I mean? Why we gotta be so why we gotta start the violence like that? What's it gonna do? What is this gonna do? All right, don't down a person because they're an OG in the game. Gosh, I don't know, man. Charles, what you think, my friend? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it's just weird, like kind of like hearing that.
Mhm.
I haven't heard the song yet, so I haven't heard the Sonic, but I'm imagining it sounds amazing because from my uh, from what I'm hearing, Hit Boy produced on it, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I can only imagine like it really sounds dope. But yeah, I wouldn't even put Doja Cat and Nas in the same like conversation. Like that's kind of like if we kind of transitioning over to like basketball or something like that. That's like, hey, we got somebody like Jordan or Magic Johnson, and somebody saying like, oh, like uh Kyle Lowry, you know what I'm saying? Like he's all star, like he's hooping right now. Did you just see the last game? But I mean, these people, like they have their legacies like cemented already. Like
Yes.
Nas is one of the greatest who ever done it. She still got a lot of work to do, man. Quite frankly, just being uh, kind of in some controversy as of late. I don't see
Yeah.
how I don't see how like people are really saying that because Nas had every right, based off of what you just read, to criticize anything that she said. So
Right.
I'm confused. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
I think it's just the ignorance of the fans because, like, me and my husband were talking about it, and it was like, how could you not know Nas and how could you not know that he's a legend and like he's grandfathered in and he's just always going to be a pillar of hip hop. But what we have to learn is that when we grew up, hip hop was a culture that we grew up in and that we know the history of, right? But now hip hop has kind of turned in to pop culture. So these newer generations, they're not going to know the history or have a connection to hip hop the way that we do, and the way that we know, like, you're not going to speak ill on Nas's name ever.
No, you make a great point. Definitely, because like even I remember me growing up, um, like people, even if you just go back to like Tupac, like I wasn't, I was a kid, so like I didn't know
Yeah.
anything about what was going on. So of course, like people older than me, they have a different appreciation for music from what I grew up in. Because to be honest, the 2000s is probably like the worst of the worst when it comes to the quality of hip hop. Even though I enjoy it, I love it.
Yeah.
But I can kind of see what you mean about the generational gap.
Yeah.
Man, you know, it's interesting you should say such a thing. I mean, I would have said that about the mid to late 90s. Music was kind of that. You know what I mean? Where like sounded great then, you look back at it, some of it, depending on the style and the artist you're talking about. You know, but I could see what you mean when you say early to mid 2000s was the same case. Uh, to us, great, but then you can look back at it and be like,
Some
was
of this is not holding
this?
well. Time
Yeah,
has not been good to this track.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
You
I
know,
mean, you listening like to like like big timers, like some of those songs would be like, yo,
Gator
like
boot.
everybody
is
get
that
your
something
roll
that
on.
we
Everybody get your roll on. What?
like some of those lyrics is like, okay, pay by rent because all my money spent. Like, okay, like we talking about some stupid stuff, or just like the snap
Rich,
era. The snap era is really what I'm talking about.
hmm
rich boy say
Fun
Max
time now.
on the check.
Fun time.
Throw some
What
D's
type
on
of
it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
stuff?
I feel this. I feel this. You know what I mean? Nah, I mean, you right. You know, some of those one hit wonder like singles, but yeah, I mean, shoot, let's be real though. Even with today's generation of music in this current era, right? Who's to say theirs ain't the same case? Can we honestly say from 2010 to 2020? Oh, do you already remember a lot of the music you heard from 2010 to 2020 that kind of still carries?
It just depends. Um,
Yeah.
it depends because it's a lot of one hit wonders that we
Mm-hmm.
like the Trinidad James and
Mm-hmm.
uh, like the Bobby Smurders and things of that nature, where like they had their little moment, then we kind of moved on. But
Mhm.
I think we had a decent couple eras in the 2010s. Early 2010s was like for me like the Travis Porter, like the Waka Flocka area, like that era to
Roscoe
me was
Dash.
super. Yeah, Roscoe Dash was super fun.
What about
Yeah.
the oh my goodness, I was having a moment. Because I'm losing sight of him. Like he's in the tip of my tongue right now. And I don't know why I'm going so blank today. But uh Fetty Waps. What about your
Oh
Fetty
yeah,
Waps? What about
Eddie
yeah,
was amazing,
Fetty was
man.
amazing, right?
I'm kind of sick about that though, because like he did so much in so little time. Like,
Mhm.
The 2010s brought us future, bro.
yeah,
He brought us future.
It did bring you
Future,
future.
Crit, Cole,
Crit
Yep.
Cole,
um,
yeah. It did.
Drake,
Kendrick.
Yeah,
Kendrick,
yeah, yeah.
and then we had
Yeah.
a
Some.
whole dope era of Kanye,
Mhm.
You did.
2010s. Like that was like the tip, like the best Kanye.
You can't forget your Rihanna's.
Yeah,
Yep. You brought us
You know,
Rihanna. Mhm.
definitely that for sure.
definitely, definitely.
Uh, so I mean, it does show that that was a good era of like crop of stuff. But even in between, there's still some things that you can say.
Always.
As 20, we're in a new decade. So
Hmm.
from 2020 to 2030, let's see what this decade gives us because maybe as we're getting older, to us, maybe it's like, yeah, this ain't sticking. But to the crop that were in the position of what we were, you know, in the 2010s, the early 2000s, that's gonna sound amazing, but it may not always
Which
carry over. So,
which brings us to our next point. XXL dropped the freshman class list. I am an auntie. I'm an OG. I don't know who most of these people are. We
Ah,
got like I don't know who most of these are. I feel like Mulatto I know because of you all. Rod
ah.
Rod Wave I know. Fivio I know, kind of. That's it.
I knew about 3 to 4 names on that list. I believe. Let me see. Of course, Mulatto, and if I had never watched the rap game, I probably wouldn't have
Right.
known who Mulatto was. But because I binge watched that on Netflix, I now know who Mulatto is. And it's crazy to actually see that she's in that just now after being in a show that she was 16 in for so long. So it does say a little something to make that. Is that really a freshman? I guess so.
I
I
guess
guess.
this is like her debut where like she's really making noise in the industry, I guess. Cause like
Yeah.
she has a single with Gucci, which I am going to listen to because I like the original song. So I'll
Yes.
check it out.
She was also on I heard her verse on another guy who actually made this list, and I know his name only because, fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, this very rapper on this list actually graduated recently this year from my auntie. Shout out to my auntie Kay back in Memphis, Tennessee. This very artist graduated recently from high school at her very private school, and she had the pleasure of saying, "Hey, I'm famous now because she was on the Shade Room with the very speech as he, yeah, and all that good stuff." So yeah, NLE Chopper, I
Yeah, I have heard
believe
of
is
his
a,
name.
I believe he's a Memphis resident. I think, I believe he is. I mean, to graduate from Memphis school, he's got to be from Memphis, I'm assuming. But him and Mulatto, he had an album that he just dropped not too long ago, and Mulatto actually had a verse, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, it was a very, very explicit song.
Speaking
Very
of
sexual,
explicit,
very very sexual, like completely detailed in so many ways top to bottom. That being
pun
said
not
though,
intended.
yeah, see what you did there. Yes, no pun intended, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, if you're talking like flow, they both killed it. But yeah, nah, man, lyricism, it was tough to try to take that after a while. It was just like, good gracious. Like can they say one, like, but it was a sexual song, so I get it. It had to be what it was. But for the most part, flow for flow, they killed it. And shout out to NLE Chopper because actually on his album, he had features from Mulatto, Lil Baby, I think Da Baby. Shoot,
Nice
he
list of
had a
features.
yeah, he had a lot of dope features on this one album. Gosh, I was trying to think of some of the names I remember seeing on that thing. Those were the ones that came off top. I think, oh, Chief Keef, for crying out loud. Chief
Mm.
Keef. This man got a song with Chief Keef on there, and I was like, oh, all right. So you doing some moves. And only 17 years old, guys. This man is incredibly
Respect.
young. So to have that level of stuff shows the future is bright for a lot of the artists. And of course, Jack Harlow, a gentleman that we all probably know from this list. What's poppin'? I mean, one of the hottest TikTok songs in the planet that everybody and their mama's doing the dance to. You know what I'm saying? So hey, nonetheless, yeah, I think off the top, who else is on that list, Neen? Who
Yeah,
else?
let me just read off the list so that we can give them their flowers because this is nice. You guys made the list. NLE Choppa, Polo G, Chica, Baby Keem, Mulatto, Jack Harlow, Rod Wave, Lil TJ, Cowboy, Fivio. Is it Fivio or Fivio?
I
Fivio?
think it's Fivio.
Fivio Foreign, Lil Keed, and 24K Golden.
Wow, that is quite a list. And I mean, given how I'm really not super into the street style of rap most times, probably because I don't relate to it as much. Even though I knew I grew up in an atmosphere like that, I don't really relate. Since I wasn't involved with it. But most times, even just in my older state, it's just kind of like, man, can we kind of do like the Coles of the world and all that? But I get with industry and what sells and all that jazz. Like I get, so I do want to salute all of those young rappers, because again, the future is bright for all of those guys and girl, because we do have a female on the list.
Yes,
Matter of fact,
mulatto, yes.
if I'm not mistaken, there's been at least one lady each year of that freshman XXL list lately.
They
Because
try
I
to make it.
believe, yeah, I was gonna say, I believe Meg Thee Stallion was on that list.
Mhm.
I know Cardi B, I believe, was on that list at one point. This may be,
No, she. I think she passed on it.
did she?
I think she passed on it. So I think she blew up too quick.
Did she blow up too quick?
Already blew up hella fast.
Yeah, she
Yeah,
blew up really fast.
she just missed it.
Okay, so she might have just missed. I was gonna say, but I know they've had quite a bit of
Yeah,
they
they
had
have.
quite a bit of ladies make that list within the last 5 to some odd years or so, So shout out to the ladies in the game that's killing it and really like shining, given that lady representation, as my co-host can greatly emphasize. you know, there you go.
But yeah.
Flowers to the ladies. So what I mean, gosh,
Did you listen to any of those artists, Charles?
Um, yeah, like Rod Wave is somebody. Well, I'm from Miami. I'm from Florida, so I believe he's from like Broward County. So that's somebody
That's
who
Broward
I've
County.
been, yeah, I've
Hi,
been
friends.
listening to. That's somebody who I've been listening to. One say, oops.
There we go.
I
All
think my
right.
headphones went dead on me.
Oh
Uh-oh,
no.
now
We can still
technical
hear you.
difficulties. Yes, we can
Hold
still
on,
hear
real
you,
quick.
but I
Whoops.
don't think he can hear us. That might be the problem.
Oh.
Ah,
Can you hear me?
yes,
Yes.
sir.
That's definitely somebody I've been listening to. I actually have heard of most of these people on this list for like the first time in like a few years. Uh, if y'all not familiar with Chica, she has a Tiny Desk concert that's on what's that, NPR? They
Hmm.
do the Tiny Desk concerts. Y'all should definitely check that out. Like she is fire. Like she can rap.
Yes.
So definitely take a look at her. Um, I'm not familiar with Polo G's music, but I definitely heard of him. NLE Chopper is somebody I've also heard of. Lil TJ is buzzing right now. Um, I'm not too familiar with his music, but I definitely know who he is. So I've heard of Fabio. How do you say his
Hmm.
name? I think it's Fabio. Uh, he's kind of like the one that's taking over the wave in regards to the sound that Pop Smoke had.
Hmm. The
He's
drill sound.
yeah, that
Hmm.
New York style drill. That's
Hmm.
that new wave. He has some dope music too. So this is like one of the first times in a few years because I haven't really been tapped in, but for whatever reason, like I've heard of most of these artists this year. So
Nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, again, we definitely want to shout out this incredible list. Freshman, Double XL always finds ways to, bring you something interesting. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, if you're on this list, it's something to be completely proud of because it means you are definitely being recognized for the grind that you put in. So again, and then again with the youth in that, hey man, can't argue with it. You know what I mean? Like, hey, y'all keep doing y'all thing. Get that money, get your bread, get your recognition, and keep putting up dope content, man. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of who disagrees and agrees with it. Put
Right.
out your content. You know what I'm saying? Do you and do what that is. So, Cuzzo, what else do we have lined up within this week's entertainment news that stuck out this week?
Well, speaking of explicit content, I kind of touched on the fact that WAP had dropped last Friday, but we really didn't listen to it. We hadn't seen the visuals too much, so we couldn't speak too much on it. But the social medias have been going buck wild as it pertains to WAP, both in a positive way and in a negative way. Positive, people are like in full support. They really like the visuals. They like that both girls was given their optimum level of sexy and freak. And then you have apparently men who comment on it saying like, oh, this is too explicit, and like they aren't acting like ladies, and it's too much. And so it brings up the question, like, is it too much because of what they're saying, or is it too much because it's women saying it and we're not used to women owning their sexuality, so to speak.
Hmm. Charles, why don't you go ahead and start off with this one, my friend? I'd love to know your opinions.
Yeah, I mean, in regards to the song, like the the way that I view these two artists, they're adult artists, so they make, adult content. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really take offense to it. I feel like women should have, the right to express however they want, however they feel, and if that content isn't suited for certain audiences, then that's up to those parents. That's up to whoever doesn't agree with it. Because I don't watch everything. I don't listen to all different types of music because it's not for me. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
not nothing against like people like that make music like Beyonce, for example. But I know when she puts out an album, it's probably not for me. I can listen to it, but I probably won't be connected to it just because of she has a target audience who she's talking to. So I didn't find any offense to it, and really the blowback um, in regards to the lyrics, it is probably because of people aren't used to women really expressing on that level, um, just that type of content. So me personally, I don't have a problem with it. Those people are grown. They they do what they
Super
want to
ground.
do. They
Yeah.
that's how they make their money. So it is what it is. It's just entertainment to me.
Mm-hmm.
Facts. Big facts actually, and I mean, I agree with you in the sense of like both of these women are really dope as far as what they. I may not necessarily completely listen to them like that, but I mean, as far as like I've heard their feature verses on certain songs and be like, yo, they murdered that, like flow for flow, bar for bar kind of deal. And then like I said, I mean, it's for me it gets old. I guess in my mature state, it's old to listen to the sexual stuff, male or female, most
Mm-hmm.
times. But then I get it because sex sells, and I understand. It's entertainment, but it's also the way the world is. You know what I mean? They like hearing that, and that's what sells it. So it's not their fault. I mean, Cardi literally said it out of her own mouth multitude of times. Like, I tried to give y'all the real stuff, and y'all didn't want to buy it. Y'all didn't want to stream it, nothing. It wasn't doing nothing. And so I had to go back to putting out this type of content. So hey man, what can you say? More power to the ladies for doing what they're doing. I definitely just want to say, you know, I think about the young girls, just like I think about the young boys as well in the case of the men, because this is a two sides of the coin thing. So I would never say this about the women and not say it about the dudes, because as I mentioned with the NLE choppers and all that, like I don't listen to street rap like that because that's not my environment like that. I may know about it, but I don't know about it deep enough to sit there and just be like, that's all I listen to because I relate to it. Like I don't relate to it to want to listen to it. So as Charles emphasized, when he was just like, hey, it's not for me. The NLE choppers and them aren't necessarily for me, but I'll listen to them and check them out as far as like, yo, I like the flow, I like the beat, I like the sound, but the actual content, it's not for me. I don't relate to it. I'm not a street rapper. You
I'm
know
not
what
a
I
street
mean?
rapper.
I'm not a sexual rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like I can get some smooth lines or something here and there, but I ain't gonna go super detail with it. You know what I'm saying? But if
Whispering
that's
sweet nothing.
yeah, if that's what people like, that's what people like. But
Yeah.
nah, I mean, some of that extra stuff, as far as like even with the is it a Kardashian or was it a Jenner? I think it was a Jenner,
Kylie.
right?
Oh,
Yeah,
Kylie.
Kylie was in the video.
Jenner.
Hmm.
Yeah. So man, stop it. Just stop it. Don't stop bringing people and they races and then they're like, oh, she's not. Look, man. All right, she's a woman, and you definitely can't take that. All right, don't matter about the shade. She a woman. If she in the video and they want her in the video, let her be in the video, man. It is what it is. All right. So
Right.
just stop that, America. All right, stop it. Don't.
It's
Stop
just annoying when it comes to the explicit things. Cause it's like, let's stop acting like explicit sexual songs are new. Like, we were in elementary school, boys running around singing "Slob" on my knob. Why do you know this song? I knew Ludacris Fantasy word for word in fourth grade, and it's like, it's up to a parent or to a guardian or whatever to monitor the shit your kids listen to, because growing up, even when censorship was a little more strict, even when there were explicit stickers on CDs and people couldn't buy it unless they were 18, even with all those different things set in place, the kids are going to find it some way, shape, or form anyway. So to be looking at the artists like they are supposed to be these role models, not to say that Cardi and Megan aren't, but from jump, like, they've been sexy women, and that's what they talk about, and they just took it to the they just upped it up a little bit.
Now, I will say this though, for all of the male artists that's out there making remix to this WAP, we do not need that. We need to cancel those. Yeah, like I heard Plies did a remix, and I heard a little bit of Safari, and I heard like 20 seconds of that Safari. I had to cut it off. I was like, we don't need that from you, my boy.
Stick to ghostwriting, my friend. We do not need you on the forefront.
That was gross.
And then like Dwayne said, Cardi was talking about the fact that she's tried to put more thoughtful records out and people didn't go to them. And then in the same breath, she said, and the women that are out here who are lyricists and are really talking about something, y'all don't support them.
Exactly.
So if you really want to see a shift, and it's not the Cardi B's and Megans that are getting the spotlight, then support the artists you feel like should be, because they're not getting that support, obviously.
And I'm so glad you brought that point out, because at the end of the day, to both emphasize on both Charles's point and your point, coming off of your point freshly, is just, if you really don't want to hear it, don't support it. Don't listen to it. Don't entertain it, okay? Because the more you ignore it and support the artists that are, actually putting out the stuff that, you're saying, hey, we want more of that, then actually support that. Support your J. Cole's, your Kendricks, your Rhapsodies, and so many other, dope lyrical lyricists out there, male and female, that actually rap about political things and real things, or just stuff you can relate to, stuff you're like culturally into, you know what I mean? Because when you go through the street stuff and the sex stuff, then if you keep feeding that, it's what they're going to keep putting out, because that's what's going to keep giving them money. So that's the simple solution. But also, to my boy Charles's extent, please, listen, all right? Don't remix something. No, all right? This reminds me of a song by a great group, rest in peace, Miss Lisa Left Eye Lopez, No Scrubs. Yeah, y'all remember this song? Yeah.
Oh, Pigeons, when they came out with Pigeons?
Yeah. Pigeons. All right. How well do you think that song lasted over the years? Does anybody really remember that? Do you remember No Pigeons? Or do you remember No Scrubs?
Just let the girls have it.
There you go. Fellas, just let the women be great and win, okay? If a song like that won, you just find a way to go harder in your own way, and there you go. Don't remix something that's already great, because it won't be remembered. If it is remembered, it's remembered for all the wrong reasons that Charles just said. Therefore, I think that's a nice transition onto what else have we been having going on this week in entertainment?
I think that's it. So I do want to put some respect on Drake's video for Laugh Now Cry Later. Visually, it was wonderful. It was so dope. He was at the Nike training facility headquarters, cameoed a lot of Nike athletes. He had like a little comedy skit in there. Like Drake, just everything he puts out, I'm a fan of. I don't foresee him coming off of his pedestal anytime soon.
You know, I've lately found myself being more entertained by his videos more than anything.
His videos are good. Mm-hmm.
Probably just because of the fact that Drake's a natural actor, seeing as how I do remember him from his Degrassi days. And the fact that with him being a natural actor, he can take that element and actually do creative elements within his videos. You know what I'm saying? He can literally put some mini scenes in there, mini cameo, all of that jazz. You know what I mean? And then, of course, with its marketability, hey, smart move, bro. Go with Nike. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Why not? You know, even though I've heard that had some
Nike
money
jacket
issues.
was fire.
Hey, there you go. Hey, you know, make it work. But I've been liking his videos more than anything. I mean, I still, speaking of Degrassi, love the I'm Upset video just because of the fact that dude literally took the whole cast of Degrassi and put them in the video and made a legit Degrassi reunion into a music video. So therefore, to me, that just signified Drake is the GOAT when it comes to music videos. Music videos. Yes, Derek, I said music videos. Don't you dare quote me on GOAT. I said music videos.
I'm about to come up in here and say something.
I said music videos.
Come off mute.
Music videos, all right? He's up there with the Missy Elliott's and all those people. He always finds a way to make his videos stand out, all right? Because many rappers ain't really doing it that creatively anymore these days. So Drake, props to you on the videos. That being said, the song, it's cool. I mean,
I like the video more than the single. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I might have to listen to it doing something else.
But speaking of which, there is one more slight fact in entertainment this week. Don't know if my co-host had a chance to catch it yet. But again, shout out to our last week's guest, Mr. Mystical, with the No Limit Chronicles, because the No Limit Chronicles did conclude.
Yes, it did. I didn't watch it
this
yet.
week, and I found it so great because it made me forget about some songs I forgot with the reincarnation of No Limit, the new No Limit as it was called, and then its new transformation and Romeo taking it with the new generation and calling it No Limit Forever. But nonetheless, you know, and I don't want to give too much away here from my cousin, but I just love the way that it emphasized, you know, the fact that Master P had this nice little, you know, figure out period of like, okay, how can I revamp this? And then boom, here's Romeo. Whoa, we got a star on our hands. And Romeo took it to another level and did things that Romeo does, which is why I say put respect on Romeo's name, people. Y'all don't do that enough, but it is what it is. And then I want to shout out the Rough Riders because the Rough Riders Chronicles actually made its episode 1 debut.
Yeah.
On the same night,
I'm tripping.
We got to see the conclusion of the No Limit Chronicles and the start of the Rough Riders Chronicles on BET, which to those out there, if you don't know about the Rough Riders, then A, where the heck have you been all your life? C, oh wait, I skipped B. So B, I need to say you, sir and or ma'am, should actually go check that episode out if you have it on demand. If not, just wait for BET to show it because I'm sure they'll show a rerun. And check out that Rough Riders Chronicles because a lot of people don't understand. Of course, there's DMX, which we all know, the dog, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I already know. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got time to go on my DMX impressions today, but nonetheless, you guys should do. Yeah, trust me, I got them. I got them for days, people. You know what I'm saying? It's the monster. I got it for the days. So I'm not gonna go there today, though. We're not gonna do that. Nonetheless, DMX, we got you, and of course, one of my favorite. We talked about female MCs, Miss Eve, bruh. I don't know why
Mm-hmm.
people out there don't seem to remember. Y'all must have forgot. So you really need to watch this Rough Riders Chronicles just in case y'all forgot how great Eve was and probably still is, because I feel like she could probably even still do this if she probably wanted to. I don't
Sure.
know why Eve doesn't get her flowers these days, you know what I'm saying, in history. But Miss Eve, and showing her introduction of how she came to be and how she was with this clique. And then of course, you got the Locks, the lyrical monsters, Styles P, Jada Kiss, you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, go ahead.
you know what I'm
Okay.
saying? Y'all gotta check out. Well, hey, like I said, man, we got them for days. But y'all really have to check out the final episode of the No Limit Chronicles. If you haven't checked out any of the No Limit Chronicles, check out 1 to 5. It is available on demand if you have it on your local cable network. And then, of course, check out the Rough Riders. So, hey, enough said, man. That's
That's
really it on the entertainment news. So, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I guess as we normally do, let's get into the meat of this thing. Because with our guest here, we know that our guest is a producer. And well, we had a producer rap duo, you know what I'm saying? So you're like our first solo producer, you get what I'm saying? Because that was a duo, so I want to shout out, I want to shout them out because they know that I know you're listening, we know you're watching, and we thank you guys for joining, you know what I'm saying? But we got a producer who's going to give us some extra producer vibes and let us know, hey man, what is it like producing, especially for artists out here that are looking for that producer connect with.
Yeah, so I really, truth be honest, I got started producing in high school. I was in 10th grade in Atlanta, and I walked past this uh class. I was like, yo, what are they doing in there? They actually was making beats in the class. So I
Mm.
actually started making like beats through an elective at my high school.
Mm.
So we started on we was using Reason. I dived into that, and the reason why I really got into producing music was because I always was, kind of writing raps and stuff like that. And I was, I used to rap a little bit. And I've noticed that everybody around that time wanted to rap. They wanted to, get their bars off. So I was like, why not, me? I'll start making, the production for these rappers, and I can make so much money on the back end of that, where I don't have to be,
Mm-hmm.
in front of all the cameras and, all of, have all this attention, but I could still make some pretty good money from it. So I got started there making beats. Ended up producing uh, for a whole bunch of different artists, whether it was I had a group at one of my old churches that I used to produce for. We used to perform. Uh, then it went to some high school friends. I ended up joining the military, um, producing a whole bunch of different projects, mixtapes, a couple albums, and yeah, like 10 years later, I'm still here producing music for, now I'm more so branching out because music is really needed everywhere for people
Mm-hmm.
that, starting up podcasts, people that, starting their businesses. They need music in the background of their videos. I still, produce for artists, but it's so many opportunities when it comes to music because you literally cannot cut on anything that is visual that does not have music on it.
That's a
Even,
fact.
just audio, just, radio and, um, podcast streaming or whatever the case may be, music is everywhere. So if you're an artist out here, it is so many opportunities out here to capitalize, not just selling a song and just putting it on iTunes, but when you watching the NBA countdown, like it's all of that music that you probably never heard before. Those people are getting some good checks from them, and I personally know a certain a couple people on that I've been following that actually had their music up there. Like sometimes you might hear, oh snap, like Lecrae got a song on the NBA Finals or something like that, or like
Yeah.
yeah, they don't cater to. It's not always the biggest artist on there, so um yeah, it's just take advantage of all of these opportunities when it comes to what it takes to be an artist. Like you got commercials, TV, like it's way bigger than just slapping your stuff on SoundCloud or you got it on Spotify or whatever the case may be. Not saying that you can't make money from that, but you could definitely capitalize in different ways.
Mm.
So for those of us who don't know shit about shit when it comes to music, like what is in the job description of a producer? Like what do you do in the studio?
That's a good question. So you have different types of producers. You have a producer that um, put concepts and things together, and then you have your beat makers. Sometimes you have artists, they get a beat from a beat maker and they're not involved with the song making process at all. Then you have other producers that not only do they make the beats, but they may even help write the song. They may even help arrange how the song would go. They give pointers of okay, like maybe you should add something here, maybe you should take that out. Um, a lot of these producers are engineers as well, so they record, they make sure it sounds right. It's a lot to what a producer is, and sometimes some producers don't even touch any keys at all, but they're in charge of making all of the pieces connect. So like you have
Mm-hmm.
people like for example Hitmaker for example. He's like one of the biggest producers that's currently in the game when it comes to singles. If you heard like a big single, it probably came from Hitmaker within the last 3 or 4 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
One of the songs that just popped up in my head is "Bounce Back" by Big Sean. Like he produced that, but I don't think he necessarily put keys on every single record that he does. What he does is he takes some talent. They start off with a concept. He may, throw some drums here and there or whatever, but he makes sure that all of the pieces connect and actually come with the final product.
Mm. So,
That's intense.
and I love
Yeah,
how
it
you
could be.
I love how you broke that down because there are a lot of artists out there, believe it or not, who really didn't realize the significance behind producers and the fact that there were so many different producers. And actually, artists don't even realize that they are producers even when they think they're not, because of
Hmm.
what you just said there about recording. Because sometimes artists probably don't, they may get the beat from the beat maker version of the
Hmm.
producer, and they're engineering and recording their own tracks, mixing and mastering it all by themselves with nobody to really help them, probably in their own little corner and doing what they're doing. So that makes them a producer by title in a different way. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So there's that. But what I would like to actually chop it up with you about, Ke on the track actually explained his story, and he explained his story of his come up and how he managed to get the name that he got, and managed how he managed to really just come out with a lot of hits that was like whoa, including the also infamous and apparently timeless track that a lot of you guys know. Man, I got the swag, my head matching my bag. You know what I'm saying? Like
The
just
Black
little stuff
National
like that.
Anthem.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
National anthem. There
exactly.
you go. You see what I'm saying? So, for example, Ke on the track actually explained how in his startup he had these beats and he was trying to pitch them to artists that were popping or labels that were, big time labels, and nobody gave him a chance. To where he said, okay, I'm gonna have to switch it up. And he decided to go to the local indie artists, the independent artists, and he would pitch his beats to them, and then they would blow up, And as they blew up, because he's the one that produced and pitched those tracks to them, his name blew up. And all of a sudden, as he got that name from them blowing up, now other big time producers and artists started wanting to work with him. And that's how he came to be the legendary producer that he is in his own right. So I would like to talk to you about what is it like as a producer to be in that type of space where, just like artists are trying to, get themselves heard amongst the people, because the people and the DJs, because the DJs will spin their records, so that people can hear it, right? And then of course, the people in general, just the people that decide, hey man, you're a dope artist, we want to support you and ride your wave. But in the producer's road, seems to be completely different because you guys are more so pitching to artists that may be popping or maybe have potential to pop, and you're like, hey, well, let's work together because this beat will get you popping with what your style is, and then as you blow up, I'm blowing up too because I made this, and now all of a sudden we both get the attraction that we need. What is that like for the producer?
Well, yeah, it's to be honest, I enjoy that, and I've noticed that working with um, artists that are up and coming, they need a lot of help with direction. So, like, not only do am I helping with just the music aspect of it, but I've also managed to help everybody that I've ever worked with. I helped them come up with their concepts for their mixtape or their albums. Also got into graphic design as well. So helping them with marketing strategies and helping building the artist up from the beginning to me is like super satisfying because you get to see like the product of your work and you get to see artists grow and mature and starting to gain a little following here and there if they become get some type of traction. It's really a feeling that you can't necessarily, you can explain it, but it's like you're doing it the right way, because like if you blew up too fast and you just, hey, like I got a beat, you sent it off to Drake, now you got all these people, now you have to replicate that, and if you're not able to replicate that, now your reputation and everything is gone. Like it could be taken just as fast as it was given to you. So um home growing your own talent is definitely the way that most people are really getting on. Like if you really pay attention to all of the new artists that comes out, they're normally attached to a producer. Like when JB Block Boy was popping, what's my boy name?
Take Keith.
Yeah, Take Keith.
Take
Yeah,
Heed.
I got it right.
Yeah,
Love Take Keith.
he became the hottest producer, in that particular time frame, just because Black Boy popped up. I'm not sure too much what he's doing right now, but Take Keith is still out here.
Yeah, out
He
here.
was just on the
Mhm.
he was just on the Netflix show, Rhythm and Flow.
Yep, he
Mhm.
was. He was.
Yeah, so um, I think that is really the key if you're a producer, uh, because the next artist is not too far from you,
Mhm.
especially if you're in like areas like a Memphis right now. Atlanta is always popping.
Mhm.
Florida just have so many dope talent out there. Up north, New York is popping again. The West Coast is always popping. So yeah, like it really don't take much. You just have to stay consistent. Really, make connections, because that's the biggest thing. And with that, you really can put yourself around in some good talent. Because me personally, even though I haven't had a lot of big placements, I have access to send out beats that was being pitched to like a Chris Brown. Um, I've also done a song with I got a song right now with Lil B that he did some years ago that was on his Bass Paradise mixtape.
Lit.
So yeah, just based off of relationships, it can definitely take you to that next level.
Agreed, man. And now also with that though, that pitch and how you mentioned that with placements, for example,
Hmm.
much like with the artist, that is always a goal to get that placement on an ESPN background, for the NBA Finals or something, or just local commercial, maybe a bigger commercial. You know what I'm saying? Anything. Uh, Producers are also in that same category of there's something that needs music for everything.
Hmm.
Whether it's your local streaming, what I'm saying, platform like a Twitch, where, maybe gamers are streaming and they got instrumental playing in the background, you know what I'm saying? Tournament, if you will. Commercial ads, you name it. Movies, backgrounds. I mean, any and everything. Uh, what is the importance to that for up and coming producers who don't understand that?
Well, the way I see it is, if you only focus, not saying that you focus on your craft, but if you only aware of one different type of bag and you're not able to get that one bag because uh for whatever reason the artist that you're working with didn't pop or whatever the case is, you have so many different opportunities that you're missing out on. So if as you're home growing, your own artist that you're working with, you could be making relationships with a whole bunch of different people where now I can make, I don't have to wait on uh not only a placement, because you can get a placement and somebody record on your song, but you won't see any return or any success on that record until that artist put it out. And you know how artists can hold on to songs sometimes like you could produce something 3-4 years ago and it just came out. That's normal practice. So, with that being said, you have to take your own career in your hands if you really want to make this thing profitable, so you can live off of, or even a supplemental income, um, by leveraging different opportunities around you. Whether it's your local podcast that just starting up, whether it's because once you make that relationship, you never know who they know, and they may know somebody that knows somebody. So you just have to really take all opportunities and really take advantage. Don't I would suggest this though, build relationships, but you also have to make sure you know your worth and how
Hmm.
to do your paperwork, know how to sign up for like a song trust and a BMI, and learning that you can get for one song, you can get paid out 6 or 7 different ways off of one song, based off of how you register on these different platforms like Song Trust, BMI. Another one is SoundScan, things of that nature. So yeah, it's a lot of different ways to make money. When it comes to music, you just have to be knowledgeable where to go.
Hmm, love
That's
it.
super informative. See, I didn't know all of that went into producing at all.
It can be a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
It could be a lot. It could be a lot. So, what I would also say is, talk about what is a tag and what is the importance of a tag for a
Hmm.
producer.
Yeah, so basically what a tag is what people, it's branding. That's what it is. Clear and cut. So when you hear like Cash Money AP before you like the beat drop on the song, like who made that beat. Cash Money AP made that beat, or
Take
If you're
Keith,
on
let me
Metro,
use
don't.
that.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah, take heed for
If you're on Metro, don't trust it. I'm
right,
a.
right. Like, so when you cut that track on, like who made it. A lot of people use it. It's not always needed. in regards to every producer, but it's just a popular thing for branding, and it's a smart thing so people know, who you are, um, more than just the person that you produce for, and the people that A lot of people don't go back and read the credits, especially nowadays because we don't have physical CDs anymore. So when you go on
Hmm.
streaming, you really have to, okay, like who produced this? Let me look and see. Like it's not up in Front Street anymore. So it's definitely a different way of marketing. But what's even more important is make sure that you're getting your royalties when you're signing up your paperwork for your BMIs, ASCAPs, like I was saying, song trust, sound scans, and a lot of people don't know this, but you can get paid for your streams on SoundCloud as well. So that's another gem that I got to from one of my producer friends. His name he go by Hero the producer. Uh, yeah, he definitely put me on some game for sure.
Mm, love it. Shout out to Hero for always putting fellow producers on game because you got to have that, man.
Hmm.
Producers, artists, we got to stick together, man. We got to make sure that we know these things because there's money out there everywhere. Okay, you never know.
Definitely.
So I'm wondering. I have a question that I think my co-host can gladly ask in a better way than I can as the listener, because you are the listener. What is the importance of a beat that catches your attention?
Me, like what catches my attention
Yeah, yeah.
for a beat? I like 808s, which is the heavy bass, right? See, I don't know terms, but I like a heavy bass. So like when dubstep first got really hot, like I was really heavy on that. I like major laser. I like anything that's gonna make me feel like I want to dance. So I feel like 808s does that for me. And then I think that a nice tag helps too because when I was in college listening to Travis Porter, they did a lot of mixtape with DJ Spins, I believe. And so like right in the pockets, every turn up, like you just heard spin, 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 and it'll get you hyped. So I think that helps with a good beat too.
Mm, love it, love it. And so that same question is now transitioned to the producer of this very episode. Now that we've gotten the listener's perspective, I need to know from the actual producer's perspective, what is the importance behind making that beat that the very listener is gonna vibe to, that you know they're gonna vibe to?
Yeah, it's really the foundation of the song. Like it's no song out there that the masses is going to like if the beat isn't good. So
Mm-hmm.
on the flip side, if the beat is good and the song is still trash, they still will listen to it a lot of the time because we have a lot of artists out here that uh, they not really saying much. They just in the pockets just because like the beat is doing most of the work. So yeah, I think that's the most important. And for me, the one of the most important parts of the beat. Not only I love the 808s and I love the bass because that really carries the beat. I like instrumentation a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
for me, like drums is what get that head nod. It gets the people moving and dancing, and that's what really gets the energy of a particular song. So uh,
That sounds it. No, that's right on the money. I mean, both of you guys answered that so greatly. So I guess if I asked myself this question as the artist of the room, right, then I guess I would say to make the whole circle complete
Mm-hmm.
in this, um, to my fellow artists, what goes in the importance of a good beat is knowing that breaking it down based off your style and knowing, okay, what's your style? Are you a turn up artist? Okay, so then that means you're gonna want a lot of bass, 808s, subs. You're gonna want all of that in there so that you can throw in your ad libs and throw in all that, of course, it's gonna have a killer tag if it's got crazy bass, right? So then you just gotta put what you put to it, put your style and flavor on it, and boom, you got yourself a hit on your hands. Are you a rapper who is kind of like, all right, I want to be epic. I want to kind of switch it up, It kind of goes Travis Scottish, you know what I mean? Where it's a sicko mode type of beat where it's going to flip on you 3 different times. So it's going to have this style, and then it's going to switch up and be this, and then it's going to switch up at the end and be that with a feature artist that it fits, such as a Drake. So, it makes you say, okay, then that's probably what you want to look for. Who is the producer that can switch up a beat for me in an epic kind of way? If it was the early 2000s, an anthem type of way. All right, I need a Little John-esque anthem type of track because I'm an anthem type of rapper. So I want to be able to just put something that's going to make everybody throw their hands up and then just start vibing to the vibes, right? Maybe you're a melodic rapper. All right, so then I need something that's a transition of bassy turn up like, but kind of smooth enough for me to just put the vibes on, ride the waves, something that my listener can still dance to while also still kind of, hey, I got this in my car and I'm just riding, So it's a variety of things as the artist that goes into the importance of what makes the great beat. It first goes with what fits with you and what you feel in your style is going to work for that beat that you come across, and finding that, of course, because you may not have that direct producer that you can work with. So sometimes you probably are going to come across a beat maker. So then at that point, the beat maker is going to categorize his or her beats and let you know, okay, you're looking for this vibe, then here are the list of beats that fit that vibe you're looking for. If you want that vibe, here's the list of those beats that's gonna fit that vibe. You a pop style artist, there you go. Pop beats for days. Turn up artist, beats for days. So all in all, as the artist, I mean, it's important, but also the main important thing behind a good beat is making sure the artist gets their credit. All right, because that transitions into my next thought for this very person, and I would love to get my co-host's perspective as a listener, because I'm sure the listener probably won't even really know half the time because, well, it sounds good, so they probably won't even know, right? Sir Charles, if you don't mind me saying it like that, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Charles Barkley. I know we kind of just stole your nickname like that, but Sir Charles, now we have a generation here of rappers, SoundCloud rappers as we call them, who like to steal a producer's beats off of YouTube, make something fire to it, blow up from it, and not even bother to give the producer credit. What do you say is a way to, I wouldn't necessarily say avoid it because it seems to be a thing, right? And some producers seem to be kind of cool with it because they look at it as, well, hey, shoot, I made it in a way, so it's kind of helping me. But what's nice medium of that for those artists that do kind of, just decide to just take a beat and do whatever to it?
Well, one way that really can just nip all this in the bud is just the fact that when you know how to register your own music, like BMIs and all these different what they call PROs, performance rights organizations, it really doesn't matter if these people steal the beat and let's say a record blows, right? Your name is not on it. These different sites, you're able to register your own self on these particular songs and get your cut back. And a lot of these websites, they will backdate up to about 2 years of any missed royalties that you didn't receive for that record. So as long as you got your paperwork right, it doesn't matter who stole the beat, because it happens. It happens a lot. It happens all the time. I had a friend He go by Scotty OTH, and he produced the beat. He put it out on YouTube, and then he actually finds that Lil Baby on a freestyle on like a radio show. He did a freestyle on his beat. He was like,
That's mine. Sounds very familiar.
yeah, like yeah. So if you got your paperwork right, you know you're able to cash out and get that money that is owed to you. So if it blows, you want it to blow, you know. But just make sure you got entertainment lawyers and attorneys and things in place that you can reach out to, just so uh, you could get your fair share of what's owed to you as well. So it does take some legal action as well to take it that next level. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily think it's a bad thing, because if you know what you're doing, then you can capitalize off of that situation.
Hmm. Now, what do you say about, now going back off top of that though? What do you also say about the SoundClick producers who allow you to download for free, even though they make it clear it's non-profit? But again, you still have artists who kind of ignore that and go get their profit. Does it still fall under that same category, or do you attack that artist in a way of like, okay, partner, you clearly violated what the rights literally just said. This is for promotional use only, not for profit, unless you purchase this beat.
Yeah, me personally, I think that it was an era, especially the SoundClick era, that really ushered the behind the beats online for independent artists. I think we kind of put these artificial rules on what can happen with these beats or not, and it's really not a way to really monitor a lot of this stuff a lot of the time in the way that you really would get your money's worth, because you can register your stuff correctly, but it's a lot of people that make music that don't register their stuff at all, and they're not making any money on their music at all, because it's not, you know, it might be on YouTube, but the YouTube is not monetized. It might be on SoundCloud, but it's not getting a lot of views. So like a lot of these people not really doing the right paperwork in the first place. So it's really hard to really monitor. So if you're gonna just put out like a free beat and say like it's only for promotional use, I don't think it's a way for you to really monitor that, because how do you know the name of the song? How can you enforce that? Even with the concept of a lease beat, um, me personally, if I'm gonna have like a lease beat, I'm not gonna put any parameters on it, because it's not like, okay, like that's your 15,000th play. Like now we need to come back to the table and talk about another lease. Like it's really hard to do that. So really what these artists are really paying for is really just a cheaper version of an exclusive beat, because we're not really monitoring all of these guidelines that we say that you must abide by. So for me, if it's gonna be a free beat, just make it a free beat. If it happens to blow up, it's like, okay, just contact me um, through these parameters, and I have my information already provided to you. So if it blows up, now we can talk about royalties and things of that nature. If it's promotional for them, it should be promotional for you as well. Um, that's how I kind of see it.
I love that. I love the way you emphasize that, because that was something I've always wondered about as the artist. Because I did, when I first started out, found myself in that SoundClick era of like constantly just getting beats for no reason. Like, oh, free, like I was so new into it at the time that it was like, wait, you mean to tell me it's that easy? Just download a beat and you make a song to it and it's yours. You get to, really? Too good to be true. And then
Some of them had hit hooks on it too.
yeah, they did. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. The music industry this easy? But then eventually maturing and starting to understand, like, oh, because I ran into the problem of you got this song to this beat, and then you come across another artist that got the same doggone beat with a different song, and now you're sitting there like, wait, bro, I got a song to that same beat, and then you're like, well, my song better though. You know what I mean? And that's where the audience kind of decides it. But I always looked at it. I kind of stopped the sound click thing once I realized that, because I was like, all right, bro, I don't want to put something out that blows and then somebody else did something to it. And dare I say it either blows further or it makes it look like, oh, wait a minute, hold up. Who's the real owner of this here beat? You know what I'm saying? Or whatever the case may be, which is why they always say get exclusive rights. They always advise to get exclusive rights because, well, you don't have to worry about that because the producer is basically giving you the keys, pun intended. Shout out to Future and them, right? You get the keys to the beat. So, I mean, I don't know, cause I mean, as a listener, right?
This is all going way over my head, by the way. But no, I do appreciate you just kind of talking about the paperwork and just making sure you really register your stuff, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to ownership and can you prove whether or not this is yours. So that's super important. I think that more artists and producers and just creatives as a whole are paying more attention to that aspect. Because sometimes you feel like, oh, I just want to get my art out so that a lot of people can hear it. But when that art does blow up, you want to make sure that you're rewarded for that success as well.
Love it, man. Everybody, life is a piece of pie, and everybody's got to get their slice. You know what I'm saying? Artists got to eat, producers got to eat, and well, the listeners always eat because you guys are the ones that just gets the great sauce of what everything is in the process of this creating. So therefore, everybody is getting their piece of the pie. So, I mean, Charles, what other advice can you offer up and coming producers that I mean, you've spit a lot of gems already.
Oh, the gem dropping was real today.
Yeah, but what's something you would advise young up and coming producers to do right now?
Yeah, appreciate it. I would say really just pay attention to where the market is going. The era of the type beat is over with. If people haven't really paid attention, so like not saying that it's not people that are having success with it, but for the most part, if you having success with it, it's because you already have been having success with it. The YouTube algorithms are changing, and the way that you have to market yourself is going to be totally different from what it was 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So if you're an artist, I don't care if you have a business as well, because I kind of transitioned from not only producing artists, but now I'm producing businesses as well, helping them start up. So what I would say to them is the same thing I would say to all the producers and artists is know what you're getting into your music for. Like, know your why. Once you know your why, you'll be able to identify your expertise in whatever it is what you got going on, and sell yourself and give out value. Leave with value first, and then from there, it don't matter what you put out, whether it's a course, whether it's like some a project. You can have a project that leads into a project about, let's say, you having a certain experience. Your certain experiences, how you grew up in this particular neighborhood, and this neighborhood didn't have a lot of opportunities, and you happen to come across a video on how you started to make some money in, let's say, the stock market or something like that. You make a whole album about how you making money in the stock market. Then you can have a whole course. Like, now you can diversify all of the different ways that you're able to incur some type of revenue stream other than just one way. Like when we talk about it's different bags out here earlier. So definitely lead with value. Have something that once you have value, the money will follow. Because to be honest, when we talk about just money, like the actual paper is really worthless because the same amount of money that it costs to print 20 is the same amount of money it costs to print 100. Like it's literally the same material. So as long as you lead with value, whatever type of currency or whatever type of money, it will follow you because people who get paid are people who are valuable. So yeah, that's what I would focus on. If you're a producer and you make certain type of beats, instead of oh I just made a beat and you put it out there, teach people how to make those beats. Now you have a wide range of people that you can talk to, not only just people that are rappers, but now you can supply something to producers that other producers may not have because you have your own skill set, whether it's sound packs, sound designing, things of that nature. So now you're broadening, who you're talking to. So yeah, definitely change the way of how you're marketing yourself for sure.
That's great, and I love the way you said that. Really great advice. You actually made me think of Timbaland, actually, because he had, I think he still has it, if I'm not mistaken, a producer's class where
Mm-hmm.
he literally gives you, as we all know, Timbaland, one of the greatest of all time when it comes to producing. This man gave you a full class on tips, tricks, what he does. Literally, he takes you in his world of what he does when he creates. And that is definitely something to market. Create your own class.
Yeah,
If
and
you
it
got
doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. Like if you need a quick $150, charge 15 people to come in a Zoom class and teach them something for $10. How many like that's not much. Like you can make that in an hour. Like what job is making $150 an hour?
come on,
So
man.
it's money out here. We just gotta get creative and actually lead with value so people can pay you for your expertise.
That's real, man. I love it. I love it. Well, absolutely. I guess the only thing left to really ask, and I would love to dish this over to my co-host because this is this part of the show where we always say, "Hey, where can we?" Well, because of me. Go ahead and close that thing
So
out.
where can we find you? What are you working on? Where can people learn more about you? Oh no.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. He hit it with
Yeah,
an okey
so
doke.
so you guys you can follow me at produced by Pack at on Instagram, and that's spelled prod PRODBYPACK. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm currently going through some changes in what I do, so it'll be a lot of dope information on how to start a business. Because one thing that I've noticed when we're talking about just the wealth gap in America for people like us, it's very different experiences. So I believe that every family should have some type of multiple streams of income, whether that's if you're an artist, you're a producer, you got money coming in from streaming. You can also have money coming in from if you got an ebook online about certain expertise that you're putting out. You could do your classes or your courses. Like we need to establish different streams of income because if Corona or this COVID situation have not taught anybody anything, just depending on having like one job is not is
Mhm.
not what's going to do it anymore because it once that's taken away, what else you have to show for yourself to keep these things, keep the bills paid. So that is my goal, is to inspire 10,000 businesses, Black entrepreneurs, to start successful companies. So if anybody wants to be a part of that 10,000, so far I'm working on 2. I got my 1. I'm working on 2 right now. You can follow me at Produced by Pac on Instagram. I'm not too much on Twitter, but once I get my Twitter going, that'll be Produced by Pac TV. And that is also the name of my YouTube channel, which I will be posting content in the future. But Instagram is my main source of where you can get all of this dope information.
Hey,
Awesome.
and you
I'm
heard it.
following.
You already know.
Yeah.
You already got 2 extra followers right here, including this very show, as you know. So, I mean, cuz co-host, go ahead. Let them know where they can find everything about Pastor Ox.
Well, you can find Pastor Ox on PTAOTS on Instagram. I messed that up so bad last week, but that is where you can find us. Make sure that you subscribe to us on all podcast platforms. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on a whole bunch of other stuff. Check us out on Six Families Radio and Tuned In. We're there as well. We do have discussions on the OTS Guys Facebook page. Make sure you join that. You can find me on Instagram at Nina Soul. Nina spelled with 2 I's, and on Twitter, O_Nina with 2 I's, and then Nina as well.
All right. And then, of course, let's not forget, we have a side show for YouTube titled Plugged In, where this is basically an extension of this very show, pun intended, because the ox is passed to you, the independent artist. Yeah, get it. See? Hey, this is what we do, dropping gems and puns, baby. So this is where the ox is officially passed to you, as we like to say when we close out this show. The ox is passed to you, the independent artist, for yourselves to plug in and let us hear you and what you got. But make sure you credit your producers, people. If you ain't producing your own stuff, make sure you put the title of the ones that's producing these beats, so we know to give the flowers to the producers as well. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to you for the beat, But nonetheless, independent artists and producers, send in your stuff at ptamusic@otsguys.com. That is ptamusic@otsguys.com. Submit it. Let us know where you are, where you're from. Shout yourself out. Send us a track, maybe 2 tracks, and we will review it. We'll have our guy Charles back on. You never know what producers we'll have on to actually jam to you artists and say, hey, I might want to send you a free beat or something, bro. Come shop with me. Come work with me. You never know what producers may be on this show plugged in to listen with us. We may have some special guests. I mean, y'all saw it. We had Mystical on last week. You never know who may pop in to be a part of this segment with us. You know what I'm saying? So check out Plugged In. It is available exclusively to YouTube. It is a side mini show. So you must subscribe to OTS, aka On the Sidelines, on the YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and you will catch that very show. For artists, go ahead and submit those tracks. Follow your boy at Dwayne Dickey Jr. That is my host page on Instagram. You can also follow the artist page at Highlight Life, HILITE Life, which is the same for the Twitter, HILITE Life. And yeah, that's about it on this thing. So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for yet tuning in for another great edition of Pass the Ox, and the Ox has officially been passed to you. Peace.